hitching there, big guy?
I'm an itch. I train my ass off,
Where?
but I can't stop gaining weight. So now I'm
Well,
doing all
respect.
these different tests.
Seriously?
Well, where to go?
Since
Heaviest I've ever been in
since
my
we're
life.
brothers, I may tell you that I had a thyroid issue. You might have.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Gen Radio 1400. This is the Catania Chronicles show. Sam, what number are we at? I lost track again.
This is Catania Chronicles 948.
It's been a long-standing
This
program.
is Catania Chronicles number 64.
64, okay.
And today's guests are PPG Paints, Dave Kurtulis, and Mark Catania.
All right.
I recognize that last name.
Yeah, sounds familiar. I think I've met the guy before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube Live or Facebook Live, you can't see Mark Catania, but you can see Dave Kurtulis.
That's true.
That was done on purpose.
That was intentional. So Mark Catania. So Mark Catania wanted to take the chair of the
Stabilizer.
the famous
Yes.
stabilizer. AC, just a tribute. Can you? Just a tribute.
Oh, boy, I have to think of the
I know,
right
I know,
line
I know.
to say.
Just, you have time. I'm going to talk through it. You have time. Think about it.
Okay, I'll think about
I'm
it.
going to talk, and you know,
Because it's
he's
not
gonna do-
just the imitation, it's content.
It is. He's going to do a stabilizer. Stabilizer's our late brother. Stabilizer. You know.
Joe Catania.
Yes. So
Ah, yes.
I like to open every show thanking the Catania painting staff, all the employees, because, like I always say every week, if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have the freedom to do this.
Mhm.
So thanks to them for allowing us for giving us the freedom to do this. Sam Catania Painting, 814-866-2600, and do we have the stabilizer available yet?
I can't think of a line yet.
All right.
I was up late
We have an
last
hour.
night.
We
Yeah,
have an
okay.
hour.
We have an hour.
Just randomly come in there.
I'll think of something.
Yeah, we have an hour.
The stabilizer would randomly come in there.
Yeah, we have an hour.
That's exactly what he did. You're right.
And shout out to Screech. JoJo said because of the old folk we have in the studio today that this might have to be nap time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we might. I think we're going to have to take an inshore break at the bottom of the hour.
You are correct on that.
You can move the mic wherever you want.
Yeah.
You can take it outside with you. I have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bottom.
Sam, you're the youngest guy here,
I am.
and you're not a young man.
I probably look the oldest
Yeah.
of all four of us.
I don't know about that.
At 9:30, we all stretch and drink an inshore, and then we come back. That'll be good.
No. So, but today I wanted to bring these guys on because we want to talk about PPG and the paint industry.
Mhm.
Mark, kick us off. How long you been in the paint industry?
Yeah, so I'll just start off to introduce myself as I'm Sam's brother, Mark Catania. I have been in the paint industry, I guess if you count high school days and working in the summers
Check
with our
this
dad.
out, everybody.
1978.
Oh, ooh, man.
Way before me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have been, of course, that progressed. I worked with him for a bunch of years and through high school and college. And then I got an opportunity to get on the other side of the fence and be in the selling aspect of the paint business. So I started, I believe, in 1985 with a local company called Padden's Paints. They had 4 or 5 locations here in Erie. I then worked for them for 20 years. Fast forward, I worked for PPG's competitor, who will be nameless, for 11 years. And I've been with PPG now for 6.
How about that?
That's a career there.
It's a career.
That's a career.
Most of that I was a salesman. I currently manage a PPG store, of which Mr. Kurtulis is the sales rep for our company.
Oh, you
So,
even got Mr.
Dave?
You
Mr.
did.
Mr. Kurtulis.
I have to
like
call
it.
him Mr. Catania.
On the radio, I have
Service.
on the radio, I
I
have
have
to
to
show
on
him
the
a little
radio.
Yeah, you don't know what he says
Yeah.
behind.
Mr. Can't Stand You, I called you Mr.
Right,
Kurtulis.
right.
You want me to give you some of his nicknames?
I know, right? So, Tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you been in the industry?
So I've been in since 1986. So I started at a name I'm not gonna say, and I started as a truck driver back in those days and a warehouseman. And I worked there about 2.5 years, and then I came over to PPG, well, Glidden at the time. Currently, Glidden has been bought out a few times, so PPG owns us now, and great company to work for, so. And yes,
Did
I
they
am
pay you to
outside
say that?
sales.
Did they pay you to say that?
No, they did not pay
Okay.
me to say, well, they
It's
pay
genuine
us.
then.
They
So
do pay us.
technically, they did pay you to
I
say
do
that.
get paid.
Yeah, so I've been outside sales for the last, since 1992, so.
Wow.
Long, steady career.
So
And the industry has changed quite a bit.
I didn't know
I
you
bet.
started as a
Um,
truck driver.
I started as a truck driver,
I did not know
warehouseman,
that.
inside sales, and ended up doing out. But I can tell you, when I first started, you know, we had beepers, remember the beepers?
Yes, yeah, it's a pager.
And then we went to a cell phone, which was it was a radio.
Yeah.
You remember, you hit
Oh,
the button.
really?
It was, I don't know the name of the company at that time. Nextel. And, you know, that's how you communicated with your customers, through that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Times have changed, huh?
it's changed tremendously, so.
There's times now where you wish you could just get rid of that phone.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Right.
Well, back in those days, the beeper pager days, it was nice, they paged you, but you could take your time and prepare for your phone call if you had to, or quite frankly, ignore it. Now you just, you know, everything's a
can't
lot
escape it.
faster, everything's a lot faster.
Can't escape it.
Everybody wants an answer right now.
You wouldn't believe the amount of harassment I take on when I don't have my cell phone near me.
I bet.
Sure.
I've
We
been
all
calling you for 2 hours.
Right.
I stepped away from my phone, I set it in the other room. I don't want it, or it's in my car, I went on an estimate. I don't want my phone on me at this point in time.
Sure.
You have to be like, by your phone at all times. No, I don't have to be by my phone at all times.
Well, Dave probably can relate to that as a rep. He deals with that on a hourly basis, where people are trying to get
Hourly
hold of him.
basis.
It's time management, and we do a great job at it, so. You know, I don't let my customers wait a long time for callbacks, so.
Well, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
In Dave's case, so we gave our description of where we came from. I competed against Dave for a lot of years.
A
And
lot of
once-
years, we're going 12 years?
20 years.
20 years, was it 20? All right.
20 years
20
or
years.
so.
Yeah.
No, 30 years I competed.
Has it
'cause,
really?
Yeah, I competed against Dave before I came to PPG, but I can tell you one of the things in his reputation was that his response time was great. His follow-up was phenomenal. And then I had the
Appreciate
opportunity
that.
to work
How
with
much
Dave.
did we have to pay you to say that?
Yeah.
You can give me
We're
that.
still paying.
You can give me that $20 bill later. But when I did come to work with Dave, 6 years ago, then I firsthand experienced to see Dave in action. It's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Tell us why it's impressive.
Dave, tell us why it's impressive.
Well, you know, I always say you gotta get back to your customers right away, because, you know, there's other people that they can call, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, yeah.
True that.
And, if we don't take care of the situation at the time,
Now, based on your comment just now, do you guys, I'm asking because I don't know the answer to this, do you guys have to deal with the amount of pressure and responsibility that I'm sure a lot of companies have to deal with? I've discovered over the last week that now I have to keep track of 15 different apps, because instead of picking up the phone to call the office, they're reaching out on Google Maps and sending us messages. And then I found another one the other day, Bird's Eye. I'm like, what is Bird's Eye? I got an email from Bird's Eye. I said, I know that I've never heard of Bird's Eye. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, there's somebody actually sent us a message on Bird. I've never heard of this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And if we don't respond in a fashionable manner, then they trash us. I don't even know what this is. It's exhausting, and I don't like it. It's exhausting to keep track of that many apps. Why can't you text or call?
Well, in our world, yes, we have some of that, but it's protected. We're a pretty big corporation. It's internal, you know, but we have multiple ways that people can contact us, and it's a little bit frustrating to keep up to it a little often, but you know, certainly the traditional phone calls, believe it or not, people still fax a little bit here and there.
Really?
Yeah.
Very
Every,
rare.
rare, but
We don't
every
have
once,
fax anymore.
every once in a blue
Yeah.
moon, you'll get a purchase order to come over a fax.
Right.
Emails, and now we have our own app, which is a fairly new feature with PPG. Dave uses it the most. He signs up his customers. Maybe tell a little bit about how that app works, Dave.
So our PPG app, how it works is basically, all our SKUs and products are listed on this site. The customer gets registered on it, and they can go on and order their products online with our app. As soon as they place the order, the app comes directly to myself and to the store level. And then we process the orders.
Right.
So
It's actually,
it is a neat tool.
yeah.
Or they can do by email, or pick up the phone and call. So,
Or a little bit of both or all. Sometimes things get a little more complicated than just placing a quick order on the app. You may have a question or some technical information you need, so.
it's
that a phone call might
it's
be
fairly
used.
new, so, you know, some customers still use it, but, it's our duty to make sure that they're using it properly. And, they're ordering the correct products.
So we need to get Sam signed up.
Yeah.
Yes,
There
we
you
do.
go, he needs another app on his phone, that's
Yeah.
just what he needs.
He doesn't get enough.
I know.
But that's what I was gonna ask about, because PPG, everybody knows, is very cutting edge in the paint industry. They're just, absolutely at the very latest developments they're on top of. And, people ordering on the app, there might be specifics about a product or details about a product that, somebody who has, been buying paint for a long time might not know about. Sometimes there are advancements that you need to talk to a representative to really understand.
So on that app, if you hit a SKU, you can basically look at the TDS, which is a technical data sheet, and then they give you all the
Okay.
information about the product. So those are neat on that tool
Yeah.
as well.
Very
that-
helpful.
So that
Very helpful.
information's there. However, it's usually best to get a hold of a rep like Dave.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, because there's a lot of products that are similar.
Right.
And
Sure.
it's very important if you're looking for a certain, how it's gonna work, or, washability, scrubbability. Those are the types of things that you wanna either talk to the store or myself.
And I often get questions on what's the recoat time?
And that TDS will have
Yeah.
it on there.
Absolutely. So yesterday, this was pretty cool. Yesterday, I got a phone call asking, what's the difference between the color antique white and the color eggshell? I said, oh, I think you stumped me. I said, well, I think you stumped me. I said, let me research this. I was literally stumped. I'm like, I don't know. Let me get back to you though. Because I didn't think there was a color named eggshell. That's a sheen. If people don't know what
Oh, that's a sheen,
is.
yes.
If people don't know what a sheen is, it's
So-
a shine. The shine, like flat,
Eggshell,
matte,
satin.
eggshell, satin, sunglass.
Everybody knows what an eggshell sheen is like, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And I
It's a
said,
great angle.
I
of the-
don't think
Yes.
there's a,
Product.
I don't think there's a pink color out there, eggshell. So I think the customer may be wrong, because I got a phone call because somebody's customer said, I want something closer to eggshell, and that looks more like antique white. And then I got the phone call, hey, do you know this answer? I said, no, I have no idea. Well, from my understanding, there isn't a color eggshell.
Well, possibly
There might,
could
there might be,
Well, I
if
couldn't
you
find
under,
it.
if you understand how names are created in the paint industry.
Yeah, explain
There
this.
could be.
Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. I love this. I'm glad you brought that up. This is awesome.
Well,
They have so many crazy names out there. How are they created?
well, I can only tell you
It's a
that.
good question.
I experienced it once in my life, back in my Paddens days, where we were given an opportunity to create our own color fan deck with all brand new colors. There were hundreds of colors in there. They handed that out to, I wanna say 30 or 40 people
That's what
individually and said, name all these colors. That's it. It's not scientific.
Huh,
And so then they compiled all those 30 or 40 people's answers to each one of those colors. Anything that was similar to each other's answers, boom. So if I called something linen, and several other people called it linen or linen something, that's how the name got created.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
And then
that.
for the things that were all just, skewed, oftentimes they would just take maybe the funniest name.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people out there often think about that. How are these names created? But nobody really asks that question.
It's really a dude like me just sitting there making stuff up.
Right?
but it's true though, even with like the, car finishes, they've got those cerulean blue.
Yeah.
You know, where my car is, it's silver, but it's lunar silver.
Lunar silver.
Now, why is it lunar silver? I mean, is this SpaceX? But somebody out there thought, oh, that sounds cool. I mean, and that's all it was.
Well, and you can know this too, that sometimes those names are created simply because of the times.
Oh, right.
You know,
Yeah.
what would be a popular, calling it lunar silver,
Yeah.
space age,
Yeah.
Sure.
That was on purpose to create that kind of mentality for that car.
It's really
You know,
interesting.
rocket, go fast, that kind of
Yeah,
mentality.
it's really interesting. But I'm not ashamed to admit when I'm stumped. They called me and I said, I gotta get back to you. I really don't know.
Did you get back to them?
I did. I didn't have an answer initially, and I called back and I said, I knew eggshell is a sheen, but I didn't think there was a color. Well, according to Google, there is no color eggshell. So,
Yeah. So now, just because I'm absolutely outside of your field in every way, does antique white have a little yellowish to it? Does it have a
So
little,
there's different types of antique white.
oh, of course there are. Of course there are,
It
Dave.
can't be that simple,
I wanna hear this, Dave. This is Dave Kurtulis with
So
PPG Paints.
actually, under the old regime was,
Dave, into the mic so we can hear
Oh.
you. I want everybody to hear you.
so we used to have just a standard antique white for the company before PPG, and that was more of a realer, lighter antique white. On the PPG side, we have a little bit more of a yellowish.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. And so it gives it that
yeah.
antique quality to
And I
it.
think a lot of companies may have
I would say,
antique whites.
I
right?
would say that every paint manufacturer that ever existed had a color called antique white.
So how they
And they were all
distinguish that is they go by a color number,
Okay.
so
But
with the manufacturer.
it's interesting though, how much more, and how subtle it is with paint though, because how much more attractive antique white is than that like first apartment white paint? You
Sure.
know, it's
Yeah.
it's so much more, and just that little bit of difference in the hue, it's so much warmer and more
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yes.
It's so much more advanced with technology.
Also true.
And so you'll recognize it was Rob, our cousin, that called me. She
Oh,
was doing
okay.
a job for a customer, and she
Okay.
said, I want something closer to eggshell, I don't want the antique white. Rob said, same thing, he's like, there isn't an eggshell out there, that's a sheen.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
This is antique white, well, I wanted eggshell. Well,
Well,
there isn't an
well, how
eggshell
they-
color.
how they
Theoretically,
name
if you looked at an egg, it has its own color.
It
It's
does.
white.
And I was just gonna say, isn't the egg of the shell, that's why they call it eggshell?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, and
Is that
some,
right?
That's Possibly,
That's
what
exactly how it came about.
I mean, painting pros are one thing, but people at home do say, I want the color green of clover. I want the color green, rather than know the
Yes.
names. And, you know, it's up to sort of the paint pros to sort of zero in on that.
Right, yep.
Well, the most common example of that, AC, would be people coming in and asking, I would like an off-white. Well, that's,
Right.
that's a complicated answer.
Sure it
because
is.
There's a lot of off-whites. This would probably be a better conversation for, with Wendy.
I was just thinking
queen
the
of
same thing.
color.
When you said a better conversation, shout out to Wendy, she's listening.
Shout out to Wendy.
The queen of color. When you were talking about it, I'm thinking Wendy, for sure. Wendy.
But that's what Wendy does, because people do see colors in the world and go, I want that color in my house.
Right.
And she is the one to help them zero in on that.
Yes, yes. And it's, a lot of people don't understand sheen. A lot of people don't know what sheen means. And I'm curious, the derivative of it, where sheen came from. Because sheen is technically the shine.
Correct.
Right.
And it's, in the paint world, it's actually very scientific. And it's measured from 0 to 100. It's a degree. So at a 60-degree angle, they assign that a degree of sheen from, like, again, 0 to 100. So where the names come in, eggshell or matte or flat or satin, where those names come in is marketing. AC,
Interesting.
you know about marketing.
Yeah, I have a little background.
AC or marketing whore.
Yes, I am.
So, for example, a flat, we'll use a flat as an example, from 0 to, say, 12 degrees of sheen might be considered flat.
Mhm.
So you can't really see much of a sheen up to 12 degrees necessarily. However, another company could call their eggshell, and that could be an 11-degree sheen.
Okay.
So
See?
it varies by company.
Sure. Well, it depends on what the degree of that sheen is and what they want to call it, what the objective of, that's where the marketing comes in. What's, what's the goal here? So,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with that too, because, you know, I'm an amateur guitar player and I buy more guitars than I actually play. And a few years ago, like when I was young, you wanted the super glossy guitar, stage guitar, right? And a few years ago, I got into the satin finish guitars because it's so rich and beautiful, and it's not a matte. It does have more of a tactile quality, and then there's, it's a richer thing. And as a person who, again, has no idea about your business, you know, as a customer, a lot of customers might think, well, matte finish is a satin finish, but it's not.
Correct.
It's not the same thing.
It's something we've learned. Something we've learned over the years is it's very strategic. When you're in a house, just say they want to do the interior foyer, and let's just say hypothetically it's 18-foot cathedral ceiling. You don't want a satin finish based on what color they are choosing. So we always talk them into a matte finish because of the lighting. When the lighting,
natural
lighting.
lighting, natural lighting shows a lot.
yes,
So,
Hmm.
yeah, and again, the lower the sheen, easier to touch up.
yes.
Yeah.
And for all your do-it-yourselfers out there, just know that if you have a cathedral ceiling and a lot of light coming in, you don't want a high sheen. You want to drop down to a matte because you can't get rid of that streaking, that the image.
well, and any imperfection in those walls will be highlighted with the more sheen.
Right. And the lighting.
Correct.
So you were talking about the degrees, 12 degrees, 11 degrees, 60 degrees with the different sheens.
Mhm.
And it makes a lot of sense because when I walk into a house for an estimate, I oftentimes have to lean against the wall to get different angles and different lighting to pick up, because they ask me, well, what sheen is this? Well, hold on, you know, you have to pick it up from different angles. There's a
Correct.
strategy behind it. You can't just look at it straight on, and
And,
you can't always do that.
and again, that's subjective. We have multiple eggshell products. Well, they're not all identical sheen.
Yeah.
You know, they're in that range.
Right.
Like
Right,
talk
different
about
degree,
degrees.
yep.
So, that becomes a problem for us in the store sometimes when somebody wants us to tell them what sheen that is and they wanna try to duplicate it, and it's an old paint job.
Oh,
And so,
right.
well, best we can do is say, well, we think it's this, and then they try to touch up.
Or you guys do a drawdown for them
Yeah,
and show them.
Explain what that is.
A drawdown is
For
you
the-
take a sample from the gallon and you actually brush it on our cards and let it dry, and it'll show you what you're getting before you leave.
Yeah.
So,
So, you just touched on something. So we're talking about all the different sheens, and you have eggshell and satin finish. And I explain to people, eggshell and satin finish, it's tomato, tomato. It's almost the same thing, if it's not the same thing.
it can be.
Varies by product.
Well,
Typically.
It can be the exact same thing.
Correct.
With two different sheen names, or they could be greatly different.
Yeah.
Again, depending on the product, and even within our brand, they can be different.
Right, and there's no perfect answer to that,
No.
right? Because it varies by product, by store, there's so many variables there.
well, the majority of your living space is eggshell. It's just that soft look, and they still want the washability as firmly built.
Mhm.
That's kind of where the eggshell falls.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easier to touch up
Right.
than a semi-gloss or.
If you're just joining us, we appreciate all three of you listeners out there.
There you go.
Our beloved demographic.
We're on
They wanted to hear us.
Jet 1400 AM Talk Radio, we're on Alexa, we're on the Alexa app.
Sure.
We are on Sam Catania's Facebook live feed. We're on Sam Catania Paintings YouTube page.
We're on our iHeartRadio
We're
app,
on
don't forget that.
Yeah, I just brought that up before the show. We're on the iHeartRadio app.
Mhm.
So we're expanding. We're expanding.
You and I are expanding.
We are. Nobody's following us.
Because we're eating too much.
And thanks, Mark, for calling me out before the show. I think we actually have that live at the beginning.
Did we get
Yeah,
that?
I think
all?
we have that
Good.
live, yeah. We do, actually.
You're expanding with those 3 people that are listening.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, if you're just joining us, it's Mark Catania. Your name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Mark
Should.
Catania and Dave Kurtulis of PPG Paints.
Well, you know, I have a question, because I have known in my life plenty of DIY people, and many of them have outdated product knowledge. This is what I've always used, and, you know, as I said, PPG is cutting edge. They have the latest and the greatest in paints and colors and technology. And I'm sure people come rolling in saying, no, this is what I want, this is what I used 15 years ago, this is the best, and it probably isn't anymore.
Go ahead, Mark.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's our job, when people come in, to educate them, and usually kind of quickly. We don't have a lot of time necessarily, unless, you know, they schedule an appointment with somebody like Dave. If it's a commercial person, then we're gonna
Right.
make sure they're educated. If it's, somebody, just a walk-in traffic that comes in, then we have to educate them the difference between, well, I'll give you the most common mistake, and it's used today, it's latex.
Ah,
The term latex. Well, latex was the additive in paint, when really the first water-based products were being developed.
right.
And that was the resin for durability. It's all acrylics now. So,
Mhm.
although I don't wanna get too complicated, there may still be some latex blend products out there, vinyl acrylics, and there's a variety of type of resins that they're gonna be using, but I would say most common now is acrylics.
Now, we still have people coming to us and asking us, it just happened a couple days ago, hey, should I use an oil base for this? Can you get into that for me?
Dave, you wanna take that?
Dave, you wanna take that?
Well, these are the kind of questions that Dave.
I need help, Dave. No, I'm laughing because I need help. I mean, there's no easy answer to this one.
So a lot of our water bases, like Mark was stating, has come a long ways in technology wise. you know, oil, you know, there's a lot of downfalls using the oils, you know, you have, first of all, the smell. Second of all, the colors aren't, they don't, you know, if it's a UV or UV, it can turn yellow. You know, so there's a lot of variables between, the acrylics, the water bases don't turn yellow. They do have a little bit more stability to it as far as, colors.
Right, they're
Um,
VOC compliant, which is an
VOC
important
compliant,
term in our world.
You know, and a lot of products now are either zero VOC or low VOCs. So,
Dave, Sally Highbox said hi.
hi Sally.
So Missy Catania, hey, what's up? So that's why I said I wanted you to answer that, because I get that question a lot about oil. And it's not common anymore.
It's not.
It's not as common
It's not,
now.
and a lot of that has to do with government regulations and what's
There you go.
allowable to, you know, be used in a gallon of paint, and it quite frankly is, over the years, made an oil-based paint cost a lot more because it is less common now. But on the reverse side of that, the water-based technology has come a long, long, long way within days of my career in the selling end here. So there are products now that are in the acrylics that are more durable, quite frankly, than an oil base, and that offer even, you know, better benefits, better color retention, better sheen retention. In Dave's world, Dave doesn't do much retail selling, if any, other than his family, I'm sure, that asks him these questions, but Dave works in the commercial world, our industrial sales, so he sees even higher technology than this, so.
So Dave, do you foresee anywhere in the near future where oil will not be a thing anymore?
I do, because like Mark mentioned about the VOC compliance laws, I just don't see it as much. I don't know, alkyds are very low right now.
Yeah, we don't sell a lot of them, and if we do sell an oil, or actually it's an alkyd, it would be the proper name for that.
Okay.
It's an industrial situation,
Yep.
you know, maybe painting some machinery or something,
Machinery or
that
something
kind
like
of
that.
thing.
Now, if the listeners want to come by paint, where do they go? Tell us the addresses,
Well,
just so the listeners understand.
We actually have two locations, PPG on 5700 New Perry Highway, which is right directly across the street from the Pepsi plant, and right up the street from the Erie Zoo. And we have a second location on 8th and Pittsburgh, and forgive me, I don't know that address.
It's 839 Pittsburgh Avenue.
Thanks, Dave. Right on the corner, it's in a plaza there, and that would be across the street from the Cork, if people are familiar
Yeah,
with
West
the
Erie Plaza.
restaurant, or, we were talking earlier, Planet Fitness is also across the street there,
Yeah.
so.
In that location, I started at
Did you?
34 years ago.
You
so.
just started there 34 years ago.
Wow.
And, you
Coming
know,
up, sorry, coming up 34.
funny you should say that, because the location I'm at, which is the Perry Highway location, I started at.
There you go.
That's crazy.
When it
because-
used to be
Yeah,
Patton's years
yeah,
and
yeah.
years ago, so. That building has always been a paint store.
How many times have you been back there? Is this your second time back there?
No, I
Third?
don't know what you mean by that. I started there.
Employed there, left, come back, employed, left, come
What?
back, employed,
No, I started there in '85.
right?
That
was Patton's.
with Patton's.
Yep.
And then I was a rep. I managed a store on an Asbury Road at one time,
I remember that one.
and
Yeah.
then I was a sales rep. So after that, then I came back to PPG. It was long after that. It was PPG's.
You can also, for people who wonder where that is on New Perry Highway, it's across from where the Otis Tower used to be before they knocked
Oh,
it
yes.
down.
There you go,
Because
yes.
everybody remembers the Otis Tower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So I'll tell you a little quick story about that tower that they took down. It was a Saturday. They decided they're gonna drop that like a tree.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if anybody's ever seen that online. It's actually fascinating to watch them
It
drop
is.
that down. But I typically work Saturdays, we're only open till noon, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be cool. I'll be here and I can see that tower from my front door.
Mhm.
I thought, I'll watch this. And meanwhile, they never really said what time they were gonna drop the tower. So my parking lot fills up with customers. Not to come in and buy paint, to watch the tower fall.
Right.
And as well as
Eerie
the-
entertainment.
Right, as well as the Pepsi parking lot filled up a little bit.
Sure.
There were people all over. Fast forward, we close at noon, so I have to balance my drawer before we leave. And it was about 10 minutes to noon, so I'm just kind of prepping that drawer to leave, and I heard boom. And so I missed it.
Yeah,
By minutes.
yep.
Well, I ran to the door and saw some dust.
Right. That wasn't long ago.
Story of our lives, right?
That wasn't-
No, not long ago.
No, that wasn't
That
that
was in
long
the
ago.
fall, that was in the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. And now, where Paddens used to be on Asbury, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Great Lakes Construction?
Great Lakes Construction, I
That's what I
believe,
thought.
is in that old building.
Shout out to Great
Okay.
Lakes Construction.
Mhm.
So, that's what I thought. And, so yeah, how ironic is that? Dave's been there, Dave never left.
I never
Hey,
left.
just-
They've never left that building.
Didn't know, he never left the building.
Been there forever.
Yes.
It seems like
Well, your first 2 years were at that other company, not to be mentioned.
Yeah,
it's no longer down there.
Yeah, right.
so, I thought it'd be interesting to change things up because we try to bring special guests in. And I try to bring a wide variety of special guests in just for the listeners, more or less. And tomorrow we're going to have a school teacher.
Oh, very
Oh,
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, so tomorrow's gonna be
Very
a school
cool.
teacher. Leah Boots. So,
I know Leah.
yeah,
Isn't she related to you?
she is, she is. So,
And therefore related to you? I don't know, the Catania
Maybe
family,
no.
I don't know.
no,
Actually not, but let's not get into that.
Different branch, I know, we'll be here all morning.
right?
It's a different branch of that tree.
Don't even bring up Joe Lubman, I don't wanna talk about
I
that.
know. You went to school with Joe.
Oh, you
Joe
went to
and
school with
Joe and I
You
went to
went to
school
school with
together, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you graduate together?
Yeah, we did.
I thought so.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So, shout out to Ron Fellows Painting.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ron Fellows Painting, he's listening right now. So, has the painting industry, how's the painting industry been impacted by the first quarter? Because I have to tell you, this is, I mean, the worst quarter is always the slowest quarter in the painting industry.
Mhm.
And this year has royally kicked our ass.
Yeah.
This year, this is the worst first quarter we've had dating back, I went back into 2017.
So Dave could probably answer this best, because he deals with such a variety of customer. And I think it's a little different depending on what aspect of the paint world you're in, maybe address that, Dave.
A lot of maintenance painting still going on.
Correct.
You know, facilities wanna upgrade, you know, their facilities, make them look nice. You know, we've been into a lot of major projects recently, ceilings, walls.
Floors.
A lot of floors.
Shout out to Advanced Concrete.
Advanced Concrete,
in
there it
Elkhart.
is.
You know, and then a lot of these projects that are going on downtown and throughout the Erie area, so.
Yeah.
But overall, the painting industry, has it been slower than normal in the first quarter?
I guess, just talking and feeling the pulse of customers when they come in, from the architectural side, which is your side, Sam, I would say it has been a little bit slow this first quarter, absolutely. Many guys.
Yeah.
I
Everybody
I know you know JKS, he
He was on the show a
he was
couple
on
weeks
your
ago.
show.
JKS
He-
was just-
He says the same thing,
He
it
said-
just was a slow start,
we
but,
talked, he said he's slow.
but also, you know, we try to stay ahead of that by finding out what's coming. And it looks like it's gonna be a busy summer.
Yeah,
You know, there's a lot of projects. I think a lot of things got put on hold because the
And-
economy kinda was is, you know, I guess technically still uncertain, but,
yeah, for sure.
but I think that's easing. So-
And I don't sense any, there's no fear. I know it's a first quarter. I mean, there are different ways of looking at it. It's a first quarter.
Right.
It's January, February, March. I mean, we are supposed to be slow.
Yeah.
We're still plugging along, but we're slow. Now, if this were June or July, yeah, we'd be having a whole different conversation.
That would be some,
Right?
there'd be some
Right,
worry,
right.
there'd be some worry then.
Yeah,
Yep.
we would not be on the radio right now.
Sure.
So, but it's been a really slow first quarter.
Has
I've
it?
talked to a lot of different painting contractors, and if you're a painting contractor and you wanna be on the show, just reach out to me. Most of us get along. I've talked to a lot of them, and they're slow. A lot of them are slow.
Yeah, but it's coming around.
It's coming.
And my guide, quite frankly, I can tell you, is Saturdays, we're open from 8 till noon.
Yeah.
That's my guide.
Mm.
How busy is it on a Saturday?
Right.
Okay,
And we're not heavy retail stores. We're mostly commercial, industrial stores. But I had really brisk traffic this last Saturday,
that's good to know.
and it was way too cold to be painting outside, so I see the trend continuing here moving forward, so.
Just like with us.
Right.
We've been
Exactly.
bringing guys back,
Mhm.
so.
Exactly.
Still a long way to go, but we've been bringing guys back now within the last, I'd say, week or two. But people don't realize as much as we brand, cause like you and I talked, AC.
Right.
Yeah, branding whores.
That's what it's all about. It's what we do.
Absolutely. And as much as we brand, that doesn't guarantee jobs. It really doesn't. It doesn't guarantee workload.
Right.
Branding keeps you front and center. It doesn't guarantee year-round workload.
I wanna say one thing, the main thing and the reason why I'm successful is because of my employees, the employees that work in stores. You know, if it wasn't for them, I couldn't succeed in what I
Right.
do.
Same
So,
thing. That's it.
It's a team effort.
Very admirable.
And I think we have a great group of people working for us right now, so.
We do. In the paint world, in Erie, Pennsylvania anyway, we probably have the most tenured employees,
It's a big deal.
most experience.
Mhm.
Well, we definitely do.
We do.
Mark, when are you retiring?
It's not necessarily in my future.
We talked, but we've been talking about this. Catania Painting's waiting for Mark Catania to retire. We're trying to add another sibling to the mess.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm getting close to that age. I just turned 39, Sam, so.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't look a day
But
over
you
35.
know what,
have 30 more
you know what I say, Mark, as a geezer myself, this is what I say. I think a lot of the time, the best person, best employee, or best person in their field is somebody who has done it for years and years, but is still on top of what's happening now. And I like to think that that's what I am too.
You stay on it. You're on your game.
I'm doing, yeah,
You're on your
but I've
game.
done it a long time, and your field is like my field. It's totally different than it was 30 years ago. The products are different, the technology is different, what you have to offer is different, the way you get it to people is different, the way people communicate with you is different, but that still doesn't mean that those years of experience aren't valuable, because there's so much you can take from those. So yeah, it's good to get a smart young kid, but sometimes a geezer who is still on top of what's happening is your best option.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want
agree.
you don't want somebody who plateaued. Who plateaued
Right,
and lost interest.
or said, well, I figured this out in 1995, and I don't need to change.
Well,
Yeah, you don't wanna do that.
in the paint world, and to last as long as Dave and I have, you have to learn continuously.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
The
you do.
technology changes, like you said, how you get things to a customer, but more importantly, the technical part of this product, the products have, they're constantly changing
Yeah,
on a
absolutely.
daily basis.
And what's interesting to me is, I know with paint and some other things, they've gotten better. I mean, you know how you buy a refrigerator now in the
Sure.
last 8 years, used to last 50, those things have gone way downhill, or a washing machine. But paint, it's a better product than it was back then. There's no real good old days with paint because it's better now.
It is, yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's through technology, it's constantly changing.
Mhm.
You have to stay on top of it. You've taught me a lot. Dave has taught me a ton. It's, even into my fifties and being in business 17 years, I honestly feel like I still haven't scratched the surface yet. There's so much to learn. Like yesterday's phone call. Hey, I have no shame. I have no idea. I have no idea. I mean, that's a tough question.
It is.
You know,
It
what's the
is.
difference between eggshell and antique white? Well, you're not even talking apples to apples, that's apples to oranges, what are you
Right.
talking about?
Right.
One's a sheen, one's a color.
Right.
One of the things that Dave and I see in the industry is that people get kind of used to a product or
Mhm.
used to maybe a system.
Yes,
So whether it be an industrial account that's used to painting their dumpsters a certain way, if they're manufacturing dumpsters or widgets or whatever they're doing, that's where Dave and I come in. Because we stay up on the changing technology. And so it's kind of our job to present to you, hey, there's a new product, there's a better way, and here's why it's a better way. It lasts longer, the repaint on it is, twice as long
Yes.
as what you're used to doing.
and I wanna comment on what you said, AC. The secret to growth and success is being open-minded.
Absolutely.
Cause if you're not
100%.
open-minded, you're not willing to evolve, you're getting stuck.
Right.
You're getting stuck.
Yeah.
Well, and
You're
our,
going to plateau.
and for the consumer, especially the person at home, although I guess it goes for, businesses too, aren't paints, some paints a lot more washable than they used to be? I mean, when I was growing up, if you went to the wall with a crayon, there's a reason your mother whooped you.
Yeah.
Because you were out of
Well,
luck.
your scrub abilities are more up there,
Oh,
uh,
it's the,
with the pigments and
Yeah.
the acry-
technologies,
the
the
acrylic
acrylics,
resin.
everything that goes into a gallon of paint.
I mean, that's a huge thing. If you just think about it in your kitchen, how many spills, how many splatters, over and over, you
Right.
need to scrub those
Yeah.
paints.
And we were just talking about plateau. Somebody who's been doing it forever, but they're no longer willing to learn. They're
Right.
just going through the motions. Think about this. Look at the history of the world. Look how it was 150 years ago to
Right.
how it is now. If we weren't meant to adapt and overcome and change and evolve with times, look at history. History has.
Oh,
History
yeah.
continues to change.
Absolutely.
We'd still be riding horses to
Right,
work.
right. So if history is our number one lesson and history is constantly changing, why can't we? We should evolve with the change.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't like change.
Yeah, I think it's, now we're getting,
Accepted.
You
yeah,
have to
now we're
accept
getting
it.
philosophical, but
I love philosophical.
you open the door, Sam.
I love this.
But I think it's one of those things you determine, your principles, how you do things, the way you wanna treat your customers, the way you wanna treat your clients. The rest of it can evolve and adapt, but man, those principles are still the same. I mean, I do, like my job, I do totally differently now. It's totally different technology, the way it's, the way people get to hear me is totally different, but it's still sitting down and saying, how do I help these people get through their morning and through their day? Can I make their day better? It's always been that principle.
Right, and I've noticed over the past, the people that have plateaued, whether it's a business or an individual, the ones that have plateaued are the ones that think they've experienced everything.
Figured it out.
They think they figured it out.
Mhm.
They think that there's nothing more for me to learn.
Right.
And as I sit here, 17 years into business, I'm sitting here listening to Mark Catania and Dave Kurtulis. I'm like, wow, I have so much to learn. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just, I listen to you guys. I admire it because there's so much I've learned in this last hour that I didn't know. I had no idea. That's why I'm picking your brain like, all right, what's this all about?
Now's the time.
I'm not too proud. I am not too proud. I still wanna learn. I'm hungry, I'm eager, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah, well,
You
and,
have to ask the people that know more than you.
sure, and I'm always interested in people who have been successful in a field for 10, 20, 30 years and are still successful.
Yeah.
I wanna know what they know, how they do it.
And I can say this with humility, it doesn't matter what age I live to, I'm never going to know, I'm never gonna have the knowledge comparable to these two.
No, I mean, they
Never.
specialize in what they do.
Never happened. And I'm okay with that.
Sure.
They're specialists, I'm okay with that. But I still wanna remain open-minded, like, when JKS finishes, Jeff Smickers was on, I've asked him, why do you keep teaching me? Cause you're open-minded, you're still willing to learn, you're hungry. I'm hungry, I wanna grow, there's
Sure.
more, there's still more out there.
Absolutely
As
right.
life evolves, we have to evolve. If you don't evolve with life, that's your number one lesson, evolve
That's right.
with time. Time has evolved, you have to evolve to grow.
Right.
And if you don't, you're not going to grow.
And it doesn't matter what business you're in.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Even as an individual.
Right, Dave and I've had some success, despite our shortcomings.
Yeah.
Because we're willing to change.
Right, and you have
You know,
to.
we've had to, and, you know, sometimes you get set in your ways and you're reluctant to change.
Right.
Sure.
But ultimately, you do change.
And to stunt, we're speaking personally or professionally, one of the biggest reasons somebody develops, you know, stunting of growth, or lack of a better term, is because they're no longer willing to grow. When you think you're
Right.
the smartest person in the room, you become the dumbest person in the room.
Yes, you have, yeah.
Yeah, you have to adapt to change. And I'm still eager, I'm still willing to learn. There's a lot
Gotta
out there
be.
that I haven't even scratched the surface.
Gotta be, I mean, you.
Even with marketing.
You wanna stay that way as long as you're on the planet, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
We gotta lighten this up a little bit.
We
still
do.
I'm waiting for AC's,
Oh, AC, we forgot about the stabilizer.
imitation of the
This-
stabilizer.
all right, so my late brother, so Mark and I, our late brother, Joe, he was on this show a lot. It's cool that we have that.
Yes.
Yes.
And AC named him the stabilizer.
Stabilizer.
Because I run out of the studio 4 or 5 times. Dave Curtulis, I run into State Street, stop traffic, I lay down on State Street, whatever. Oh yeah, I'm a little high energy. I maintain it during the
Yeah.
show.
But, you know, I think if we had had the conversation we just had, and Joe were sitting there, he would say something like, well, if we can get Socrates and Plato to stop talking about philosophy, maybe we can talk about painting.
That was classic.
That would have been.
That was classic. That was great.
Yeah.
That's how he talked too.
That's how he talked.
That's how he talked. He'd
Very-
be
very
sitting over there in
monotone,
Mark's
very
chair.
monotone.
Wow.
Yeah, very much. Very much. I'm running out of the studio. I run back in. I broke the mic.
Yep.
The mic.
Yeah.
Classic mic drop. He's sitting over there just.
He-
Toss those little gems in.
He was different than Sam and I.
Oh,
Sam and I have been
absolutely.
known to talk a lot.
And he was just his own character.
Yep,
And
he was.
And AC named him the stabilizer.
Oh, yeah.
He always said, well, I love AC. I love AC. I want to see AC again. I love AC. He agreed to come on our first show. He said, all right, I'll do the first one. Well, he fell in love with it, and he
Yeah.
really started to gel with AC, and he said, oh, I want to go back.
Oh, yeah, we had a
Just
good
keep
time.
doing this. He's been on multiple shows.
Yeah, we had a good time. Well, we're almost out. I know our clocks don't work again, Sam, so I'm gonna tell you, we're almost out of time.
We have another hour. You want more? Make more money.
I have important clients to record, although
Alright.
you are an important client as well.
We're signing off tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow at 9:35. 9:35 until 10.
Okay,
All right, signing off. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
okay.
Painless.
Yeah, I always, speaking of being